So being vegan is not about not eating meat, not drinking milk. It's about respecting someone else's right to live and not taking advantage of them just because you can. It's about power. Abuse is always about power. And what we do to animals in this world is abuse. Taking an egg from a chicken and using the baby chick for meat industry is abuse. Taking milk from a cow and using it to make so-called dairy products, or as it is, using mother's milk to feed the wrong baby, and you're not a baby anymore, especially when you're not a baby anymore, is abuse. The milk produced by cows is meant to feed the calf. It's not meant to feed adult human beings. It's the wrong diet as well. It's abuse. To keep cows is abuse. To take a dog and breed it and sell the puppies is abuse. To buy a purebred animal, whether it's a cat or a dog, is abuse. To take an animal and to make it into a product you consume in order to fortify your status in society by having a purebred animal is abuse. To take a worker and to give the worker a little piece of the profit, a little bit, while you take a whole bit for yourself is abuse. To take a woman without education and to give her work with babies from 7:30 in the morning till the evening and give her less than a cleaning lady and make a profit out of it and have a big fancy office and run a lot of private so-called kindergartens is abuse. To take advantage of a construction worker and give them no benefits, no security, and make tons of money and sit in a fancy office is abuse. So it's not about not eating meat. It's not about not consuming milk. It's about respecting everyone's right not to be taken advantage of just because it's possible. Animals are helpless compared to human beings. They're not able to fight. Even a lion cannot protect himself against a man or woman with a gun. So let's start with that. Before we talk about the Taliban, let's talk about how we abuse animals in our society. How we take away the milk intended to feed their young ones. Taking away the eggs. Taking away everything we can. And then talk about how we treat workers in this society. How little we pay people in order to make a huge profit. And how many people study business in this country? How many people want to figure out how to manipulate others in order to make a profit? Why in the world would anyone use their one precious life on earth in order to study how to manipulate others and make more and more money? How much money do you need in order to be happy? The answer, not a lot. You need a place to live and some food and clothes. You don't need much more. But people are greedy. So they take advantage of the cow, and they take advantage of the chicken, and then they take advantage of other human beings because they can. They give them very little money, and they make a lot of profit. And they live very wealthy, privileged lives. And then they call it business. They call it capitalism. It's not. Taking advantage of other people or other beings is not something to be proud of. So to all those wealthy people having big cars, purebred animals, consuming milk and meat, it all goes together. It all comes together. And if your religion doesn't tell you it's wrong, it's the wrong kind of religion. And what religion does tell you it's wrong? None. Maybe Hinduism, maybe Buddhism. But all the major religions in this world, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, doesn't tell you that it's wrong to abuse animals, that it's wrong to abuse people. It does tell you, but nobody takes it seriously. It does say to treat others as you want to be treated. but it also allows people to take advantage of others. And Israel is one of the worst countries where people make a lot of profit and take advantage and build huge buildings while taking advantage of workers. US does the same. All the so-called free societies abuse workers, abuse animals. Israel is better, though, than the Muslim countries around us. They don't even apologize. They don't even have people that are animal activists. They don't even have shelters for animals. They don't even have basic respect for an animal to stop it from suffering, but on the contrary, use it for fighting. So Israel is slightly better than the Muslim countries. And don't you tell yourself that Israel is the most abusive country in the Middle East, because God knows we have a lot of competition. It is probably the least abusive, but it's still not good enough. Just because other people do the same abuse and worse doesn't make you better. Because if you know it's wrong and you still continue to be part of a system that abuses people and animals and take advantage of them and call it business, having 5 apartments, renting it out, and having a life of luxury while other people have to struggle and don't even have enough to eat, is not a way of life to be respected in my book. Business people are not to be respected. People who pay workers nothing while they have huge homes, huge cars, and have a luxurious lifestyle is not something I respect. So it's not about eating meat and dairy. It's about not abusing power over other people and other animals. Peace, light, and love. Let's have the world wakes up in understanding that every time you consume meat and dairy, you're part of a system that abuses the power of human beings that have the intelligence to know better, but choose to continue this industry of abuse, which causes global warming, which causes forest fires, which makes the lives of animals even worse and impossible. Not only do we consume their meats, not only do we steal their milk, not only do we enslave them to this industry of pedigree animals, but we also destroy their home of destroy the homes of wildlife that are lucky enough to live so-called free life, where they can hunt and seek food without the abuse of people. And then people create worlds and conditions that cause forest fires all over the world. And if it's not caused by global warming, it's caused by terror. And if you support extreme Muslim terror and call it free Palestine, you must be delusional. There's nothing free about Palestine, and there's nothing free about abuse of power, whether it's Israel or Palestine. And you can be sure, if you go to the Palestinian territories, you will see abuse of power much more than in Israel. You will see people oppressed much more in Israel. And you will definitely see animals much more abused than in Israel. How many shelters do they have? And they always have excuses. We don't have money. We don't have money. Let me tell you, the UN creates a refugee agency only for Palestinians. And the status of refugee is handed down from generation to generation to generation. So they're even called refugees, but they live in the US for 50 years or more. Not something we as Israelis can do. We do not have another home. I don't speak for all Israelis. I speak for those who are against abuse. I speak for those that are against abuse of power, to say it's all connected. We're all connected. And if you think that giving up meat is a sacrifice, it's not. It's doing the right thing. If you think giving up dairy products is a sacrifice, it's not. It's doing the right thing. Because doing the right thing is respecting other creatures, other living beings, having the same right as you to live, and not taking away from anyone anything just because you can. Peace, light, and love.